We have to now get into, sadly enough, the couch story. I'm not sure how to couch this topic in this podcast because it can be a little gross to think about. However, the fact that someone made a meme, I don't have a problem about it. You know, you made fun of JD Vance. You said like the quote came from his memoir. And the key to it being fake is in the quote, because it's basically, it's like this. If you haven't seen it, it's going to be in these clips. But the gist is somebody posted a quote that doesn't come from JD's book. And he know that whoever made it is a troll. And they know no one reads JD's book. So the key was, it's about how JD banged his couch. And the reference was like, for 3 pages. Nobody's going to describe that act of whatever for 3 pages. Like, that's the thing where you know it's ha funny. But the left, they like to gaslight their audience really, really hard. And they just put stuff out there and people just believe it. And that's a serious portion of our population. And if we, as non-aggressive people who just want to be left alone, if we don't become more assertive, we're going to have that small minority of people who believe that JD Vance fucked his couch making decisions over who is taxing you and who's governing you and your family and your community, these sort of things. So we can have a discussion. Is that all legitimate? And is government the biggest superstition and all that sort of stuff? But we have to deal with what's outside our house day to day. And what they're creating is a population who are highly misinformed. And because of that, they have some mental challenges. When someone blocks your goals and you don't have a process to solve problems, you're going to start to have problems. And they have a whole population who's being gaslit purposely to create these mental issues. And I think it was demonstrated in some of those clips we saw earlier, but it's going to become more evident, I'm sure, as we head toward the election. So without further ado, let's see if JD at least bought his couch dinner first, because that would be the polite redneck way to do it.
I'll keep my remarks short. I know that we have a lot of speakers. And afterward, of course, there's another Zoom that I invite you all to called Couches Against Trump, better known as CATS.
If you're going to accuse someone of having sex with a couch, you better have video.
You sad diet Mountain Dew drinking couch humping dolphin porn aficionado. And before you tell me he didn't really a couch, spare me. I grew up in New Jersey in the 80s where everyone had a couch in their basement, and I know a couch when I see one.
Now, I would call her up here to come and speak, but then I think I'd have to sleep on the couch tonight. So,
oof, bad line from JD Vance, considering, a rumor that was going around, a rumor that started on X, formerly known as Twitter, about how he likes to partake in coitus with sectionals. Now, this was a false claim that JD Vance had sex with a couch, but it's probably going to haunt him for the rest of this campaign. But where did it come from? How did this troll attack start? Well, it did lead to multiple fact checks, which only made the situation worse for JD Vance. But let's get to the very beginning. So it started with an X user by the name of Rick Rude Scalves, who posted this joke to the site last week. Quote, can't say for sure, but he might be the first VP pick to have admitted in a New York Times bestseller to effing an inside-out latex glove shoved between 2 couch cushions. Vance, Hillbilly Elegy, pages 179 to 181. Now, I actually read Hillbilly Elegy well before JD Vance was even on my radar as a politician. And I was like, was I stoned when I read it? Because I don't remember reading that. I would have remembered that. But it did lead to a hilarious fact check by the Associated Press. So I want to show you that. No, JD Vance did not have sex with a couch. Now, that situation only made things worse. In it, according to the AP fact check, while a PDF search of the book yielded 10 references to couch or couches, at no time is the furniture engaged in coitus. Moreover, the AP noted that the words sofa and glove do not appear anywhere in the book. So it was a false accusation. This was not in his book. But again, the fact check itself didn't really help JD Vance because I didn't even know about this allegation until I saw that fact check. And now the Associated Press has deleted the fact-checking article altogether. If you go to the URL, the link directs you to a deleted article with a note that says, quote, "This story did not go through our standard editing process and has been removed." So before I get to the fun memes that arose from this troll attack, John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, three of my favorite parts of that they put up the fact check and then took it down. I think I and most people reasonably will think, oh, they found new evidence. Like that's the reason you take it down. Oh, there was actually, he didn't say sofa. He said chase or whatever. Like, that's not what it is. Two, I don't know if a lot of people have referenced this. Is it possible for us to put the original tweet back up? My favorite part of it is very subtle, and I'm sure a lot of people noticed it, but not everyone did. But if we could put that up, you'll see he includes the supposed section from the thing, and then he does his citation. And he says, Vance Hillbilly Elegy, pages 179 to 181, implying that the section where he describes his couch sex is 3 pages long. It's not a reference. It's not an aside. It's a subplot of the book. And that's what I love. And 3, I just want to be very clear because I care a lot about journalism and journalistic ethics. People need to stop saying that he has not had sex with a couch. We cannot say that. We can only say that he didn't describe it in the book. It is entirely possible that he has had sex with couches. And I would say that whether or not he had sex with couches before this meme started, he's looking at couches in a different way now and wondering, is there something to this? The chance that he gets through the next month without having sex with a couch is maybe 10% at maximum. That's my thought. What do you think?
Okay. That's hilarious. I don't know how much pleasure any guy can get from humping a couch, but I mean, anything's possible. You know, we live in America. It's the land of opportunity, the land of dreams.
Put your back into it.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. But putting that aside, let me just make one serious point. Let me be the Debbie Downer before we get to the fun memes. Okay. Look, it is concerning that if someone makes an allegation and then does like a BS citation, most people are like, oh, well, there's a citation. It must be true. Like that does worry me a little bit. You know,
you think that people, what percentage of people do you think actually believe that he did it?
I mean, look, I don't know about it in this context at all. Look, I'm going to be honest. I really don't care whether he effed a couch or not. Like, I think it's funny, but I don't care. And so the only thing that I saw at first was the Associated Press headline, and I just thought it was hilarious, but I don't care enough to actually look into it. You get what I'm saying? But
I get you.
I think that it is telling when it comes to actual serious issues.
Sure.
Because I have seen shows just flat out lie about things and then have a BS citation and people just take their word for it. And it's like, please, like, and look, I don't blame most people for not looking into it. People are busy and they're supposed to be able to trust news organizations, but always double check. Okay. If someone makes a citation or if someone posts a link alleging that reporting says something specific, read the piece for yourself and see if it actually says what they claim it says. Anyway, let's move on to the fun. Apologies for being the Debbie Downer here. So this obviously spurred all sorts of fun memes. It was one of my favorite developments on X, which I usually never have any positive things to say about developments on the platform. But nonetheless, here's one of the memes I appreciated. So it shows the Ashley Furniture logo. And on the first one, it just says Ashley and JD Vance seems uninterested. Second one says Ashley Furniture and he's giving it a thumbs up. Okay. But this one's definitely my favorite. Let's go to the next one. When I get that feeling, I want sectional healing. Come on. Come on.
That's not bad.
All right, one more. There's the iconic Obama art that says hope. Then you have Trump, it says hate. Biden, it says heal. Kamala, it says grow. And then with JD Vance, it's just simply couch. So, people were having fun with it. And look, I think that there should be a fun element to politics. And I don't take this too seriously. It is interesting, though, how it just took like one guy messing around to have this unfounded rumor like spread like wildfire on social media. It's pretty incredible. Like, I think campaigns tend to like overthink their strategy in some aspects. In this case, it shows how easy it is to like spread a pretty toxic rumor about someone, which is, I don't think necessarily a good thing, but at least it's a fun rumor. Like, I don't think anyone's losing sleep over this.
Yeah, I don't think that they are. Look, I will say from my own personal experience, I saw a reference to it. I believed it for a minute, only because I haven't read Hillbilly Elegy, because I can't conceive of why I would. But it seems like the sort of thing, like, he's talking about drug use and wild stuff. Maybe there's a reference to it. I don't know. But I, within a minute, had seen a fact check of it. I think the vast majority of people making jokes about it just think it's funny. I don't think that they think it's real. I think that they think it's funny. And I think that basically everything else about JD Vance is so awful, like unrelentingly awful, that it's fun to have some other like color to paint with, you know? That it's not just talking about how he like would go further than Trump in trying to like yeet us into the Handmaid's Tale. Like, we can also talk about this stuff. I like that.
Yeah, I agree. So Business Insider caught up with the gentleman who started the rumor in the first place, and they're not identifying him by name. Ever since this whole thing kind of blew up, he's tried to, protect his social media accounts. He didn't expect all of this attention. He doesn't like all of the attention. But with that in mind, he did talk to Business Insider, and they're referring to him as Rick, a pseudonym. And he said the following: I have really enjoyed thinking about his team and all of the idiots associated with him having to grapple with this. I think by the time the Associated Press thing came out, I was talking to one of my sisters and saying, oh yeah, Trump is already calling him a couch effer, which I wouldn't be surprised. By the way, Trump is the kind of guy who is like easily disgusted. Yeah. And I do wonder if he knows about all the people clowning Vance on allegedly humping.
It's natural when you hear someone being in love with or sexually attracted to an object like a couch. Everybody kind of scratches their chin or gets freaked out by it. We're certainly not talking about JD Vance or anyone specifically having a love affair or a sexual affair with an inanimate object. But this idea of being sexually attracted to and using an object, an inanimate object like a sofa for sexual pleasure is maybe to many people surprising, but it's very common, not necessarily only sofas, but it could be any object that people form an emotional or a sexual attachment to. So it's considered a fetish when we need an inanimate object like a sofa cushion or, a spoon, or it could be anything, a bottle, something that we need, even a foot fetish. We hear about those, an inanimate object that we need to get sexually aroused or to even reach, climax. When we're talking about being in love or emotional attachment as well as sexual attachment, that's when it's called objectophilia, which is considered a paraphilia in that category. And there are many, many, many of those. Objectophilia is when you are sexually attracted and have romantic feelings for an inanimate object. Well, I love conversations like these as a sex, love, and relationship therapist, because anything that brings stuff out of the shadows that nobody knows about or nobody wants to talk about and into the light where we can be educated about it is good. Now, certainly with all the
title of that video from TMZ was JD Vance, couch sex mockery, harmful to furniture kink community. I wanted to make sure the AI transcript could get that clearly on the record, because I'm sure we're probably gonna have to search back and find that clip at some point. So that was quite a section. I think that the real tip off was when everyone, asked JD Vance, how you doing today? He would always say, so far, so good. And they thought like he was saying probably something else, but he might have meant the couch. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Couch fucker. Couch fucker is like couchfucker.com. That could be like a property. People, you know. The troll's reaction though, he's telling his sister, he's like, yeah, Trump's calling him couch fucker now. Like, just spreading false information is so easy when you're around people who assume, first off, they trust you and you're abusing their trust and they don't know you're joking, maybe. But like that whole milieu of disinformation only circulates. It's not like with the Republicans, it's not with the libertarians and the people. Like, there's 50% of this country who doesn't vote. And we just watch like these shenanigans. So there's a small demographic in there that is very much, they don't know up from down. Now, I do have a question about this. I have a meme over here. Where's that meme? Okay, I got a meme that was circulated today. This was in production chat, and I'm curious as to the source of this photo right here. I would like to see the historical artifact that's being compared to the current artifact, right? We are familiar with the current artifact and how it was generated and who captured it, name of the photographer, date of photo, etc., event, right? Over here, this is history, allegedly. And
that's the most Photoshop photo I've ever seen.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a circulation on Twitter, Facebook, etc., of these things, and it's easy enough for people to just say, "Yeah, see, there," you know. But what is this? What does this meme mean? Because this is like a counterfeit meme. A meme is a little packet of information that should lead you to freedom. It should represent reality. And the cool part of a meme is your brain has to have some context to be able to put it together and unlock it, right? Now, if we do the same thing right here, what are we unlocking? Oh, this says President Trump was not shot. It was faked, and this was staged and choreographed. And that's not accurate to reality. This is a counterfeit meme. This is a meme that's created as psychological warfare to mislead well-meaning people who don't have the practice, method, and habit of saying, what's the source of that document? I can't consider that part of my reality because I have learned these lessons about the other counterfeits of reality that they have offered everybody through the school system and backed up through mainstream media, which is the front end, like the people who are the deep state globalist internationalists. How do they rule over you? Well, they control your education system because they don't give you education, they give you schooling. They control your news. That's their layer. Those people work for them, not you. You are the product. You are supposed to be afflicted by their information and believe what you're being shown in any given time. And that's why when this type of thing circulates, so many people are just like, yeah, of course, because they know they're being lied to on a lot of things. And then it just jumps to we're being lied to about everything. And unfortunately, or fortunately, reality doesn't yet portray the extreme nature of some of these trolling efforts. And those trolling efforts wouldn't even be there if there wasn't some freedom to steal from you by informing you of something that is malinformation. Now, if I find out that that's an actual historical photo, I will stand corrected. I'm wrong several times a day. So I don't mind recognizing my mistakes. That's actually how I learn, is I have to self-recognize mistakes as I go along. So if I'm wrong, we'll find out. Somebody will find the original photo. And if not, much ado about nothing. All right. Now,
well, speaking of being wrong, correcting the record before I get wrecked in the comments. So I searched earlier for Tupac's last album while he was still alive, or during his lifetime, and I said All Eyes on Me, which came out the same year he was killed, 1996, and then an album came out a month later, 2 months later in November. That was the Don Illuminati album. So that was still within his lifetime. So
that's his version of Life After Death, Biggie.
Basically, yes. So basically, you guys, so don't just go easy on me there. But
they never have, by the way, they never have insurance on assets like Hollywood talent, and they never ever decide to cash in their insurance money and have those people disappear. There are not things called what are they, Star Killers? What was Dennis Quaid, Randy Quaid did that whole whistleblowing thing like 10 years ago. He held that press conference at the Vancouver airport, and he's like, star whackers, I think was the term. And he said that there are powerful agents in Hollywood that own these insurance policies, and they were killing people. It might have been right after Anne Heche or right before Anne Heche. That type of thing might be a thing. I'm just saying it doesn't go on. What do you know, LD? I thought you were chiming in. I thought I heard you.
No, but
star whackers.
Star whackers. Yeah. I don't know much about it, but
Yeah, I hadn't heard about that either. I hadn't heard about that either.
I'll look up while we're doing this next block. I'll look up Randy Quaid at the Vancouver airport and at that press conference. And yeah, he was fleeing. He was afraid for his life. And it's a rare like window into that mysterious world of people who abuse kids, apparently. Because we're getting to the Finders case later. That's another thing.
Yeah, I saw that. That's
yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
That's
Jamie
cool.
Deluxe. All right, so
I had one other thought on this whole
Yeah.
whole Vance thing. So it really reminds me of the whole Hunter Biden laptop thing, where it's like, so they've come after Trump every which way, like literally. There's not a single thing that they haven't done to Trump that they could possibly do short of actually killing him, right, or getting him pinned on some scandal or some child molestation scandal or something. Which
so now they're just trying to get in his way.
So
make
yeah,
it inconvenient.
Yeah, and so it just has the same like kind of smell of the Hunter Biden thing, where it's like instead of attacking Biden directly, they can attack Hunter Biden with some, which obviously turned out to be true, which is the difference between this and that. But it's like this is the best you can do is make up an easily disproven story. I mean, maybe we've all I'm a guy we all humped things when we were kids. Like I was humping all kinds of crazy things when I was a kid. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's what they were in reference to, but it's like in this particular case, exactly what they're saying. Like they're making false claims about something. It's like this is the best they could do. Like the Hunter laptop thing was a pretty big deal, in the grand scheme of things. And if this is their best shot, that they were sitting in some meeting, they're like, all right, what can we come up with? And this is what they came up with. Like that's pretty embarrassing. So yeah.
They do a good job of making molehills into mountains and mountains into molehills. Like a Hunter Biden story, they can make that go away. A nothing burger like him fucking a couch to get into Yale Law School or whatever the initiation was, right? We'll find out if there's more Yale Law School people tonight who also fucked couches. We'll see there's like a skull and bones thing there, but there's probably not. Yeah, we're getting too far off the couch beaten path. I wonder, like, if the couch doesn't put out, does he slap it? What happens?
Probably.
Also, you can't prove that he didn't fuck the couch. That's true.
Exactly.
And what they're playing on is you can't prove a negative. And this shouldn't even be a thing that's rewarded in our society, right? Where someone says something, then you can't disprove, you can't disprove a negative. It's on the onus of proof is on the person who makes the claim. That person said, here's my proof. It's on these pages. Right away, the Twitter world should have been like, community notes, this is misinformation, but they didn't. It's like someone putting a cigarette on the ground and everyone walking by as it smolders, and then it turns into a forest fire. It eats up like 5,000 acres per hour. Oh, wait, that's really going on in California right now. No one puts it out, and it just happens to progress their agenda, which gets back to key bono. Who's benefiting from all the non-firing and incompetence? It's like the American people are not benefiting. Seems like we're getting fucked at the drive-through, to quote, one of those good 90s movies. Right? Yeah, Lethal Weapon. That was 90s. All right, so
I got one more. Just to wrap it up. I swear to God. Okay, so I got one. He is the sofa king, so fucking owned by Peter Thiel. There you go.
Yeah, Peter Thiel. I mean, that's another.
We'll talk about that another time.
That's another big deal connection. Twice a year, I teach a course called Autonomy. It's a 12-week course. It teaches leadership, entrepreneur skills, executive skills, all these types of things that I saw were taken out of our education system in order to make the schooling or indoctrination system that we've all probably went through. And it has served us well enough to be interchangeable cogs in the machine of the globalists. But if we want a homestead, if we want write our own ticket, work from home job, work from anywhere type of situation, they're not exactly handing those out at the end of college. They give you a piece of paper and they're like, good luck. So reality is dropping us off here, but the demands of reality are up here. So I created Autonomy to help people close that gap for themselves so they can level up their skills to the demands of the situations that life is putting in front of us presently. Life's demands of intellect and understanding precision and complexity are ever increasing. The schooling didn't prepare us for it. The media is not going to do anything but reinforce what schooling prepared us for. And so we're going to have to take a leadership position and take steps off the beaten path to kind of blaze our own trail in life. What makes the Grand Theft World podcast unique, invigorating, exciting, and informative? Most other podcasts out there are either doing straight up interviews or they're just covering the daily news. They're covering current events from the day they happened. And that is effective. It's useful. It's a great starting point. And then sometimes these current events change during the week past the first story. So we like to give it a little time. You have to wait till some of the dust settles on these stories in order to give them accurate coverage. And the other thing that's really missing in the media landscape is covering the articles that are coming out every day. That's great. That's necessary. But who's bringing in contextual history so that you can understand what has been going on for decades and decades to lead up to the machinations and actions that we see unfolding today? So what we do here on the podcast is we cover current events. Many of these things are censored, but we wait about a week. As a forensic historian, I focused mainly through my career on the history of globalism and collectivism and things that they call maybe the New World Order. There's a lot of facts to these sort of circumstances, groups, events, activities, working groups that they've had over time. So for Grand Theft World listeners, we not only break down the current events, most of which that are censored during the week, we provide you with contextual history, we give you the source notes, the references, we do deep dives, and this really empowers you with an understanding of context and history so that you can make more informed decisions in your life. There's also a community, a membership where you guys can actually ask questions and we can get into the show and we can share evidence. And there's a town hall weekly for Grand Theft World for those who listen to it and are interested in covering the stories that we don't get to during a 6-hour show. Listening to it an hour a day, you could easily consume the week's news, but you're going to have substance and meaning and context and understanding. And with that, you can make higher quality decisions in your life. So if you're interested in more quality in your life, go to grandtheftworld.com, click podcast at the top, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
These allegations are false.
This isn't Grand Theft Auto, folks. This isn't a video game.
What are the most surprising things that you discovered once you started pulling on that thread? Who he was connected to, what institutions he was influential over, what events he participated in?
Come on, man. What are we talking about? Come on, man. No.
You don't have to think about it, dude.
I got this quote because you said you didn't know much about Klaus Schwab. I made it my job to, as soon as this happened, I'm like, okay, this guy's their front man. Let me learn about the official history of the World Economic Forum. I got their 40-year history. I got every book that Klaus Schwab has written or ghostwritten. I went through those books. This is one of the most interesting passages.
Come on, man. Come on.